What's up, amigos? Commander Jaime here today. Today we have a special interview with David Smart over here. David, do you want to say hi and also the deck that you played?
Hey, I'm David Smart. I came first place in BCS Rosemont with Steam Maidens in V Premium.
That's awesome. Not only that you top, but you also got first place. Like, kudos to you. So definitely, it feels good. So that means you qualify for Worlds. Is that correct?
That's true. I get my sponsored invite to Worlds. I
So
will
cool.
be attending.
Is this your first time qualifying, or have you qualified before?
Uh, yes, this is my first time for Worlds. I've
Super
been
ecstatic. Hmm.
I've been up there at regionals for Spring Fest, but those of course don't have Worlds invites.
True, like the
So
team links and
I'm
stuff like that.
I'm very excited to get a solo top here.
Hey man, definitely. It feels pretty good, like knowing that you did it too. That way, like all the effort and the preparation you did, it was like it was worth it. Awesome. So typically, like I'll like to start with the interviews, basically asking a little bit about yourself. And those who are curious, I'll put the deck lists throughout the video too. Tell us about yourself. Like, do you also know a friend of ours named Noman and how you guys came to be a little bit in your community?
Yeah. Noman's a good friend of mine, has been for a while. We met at locals in Birmingham, Alabama, which is where I'm from, and he helps me a lot with testing and with
Hmm.
ideas for decks, and lets me glean secondhand WCC information off of him on what the new techs are.
That's fun. Secondhand. It's like secondhand smoking or something. Awesome. And so, do you have a community where you're at now, or is it mainly like CFA
uh,
online?
Unfortunately, where I'm at is a pretty small town in South Georgia, so
Hmm.
there's no real local scene for
Gotcha.
Vanguard. I think there's always like a magic scene, but I'm not really into that. So
Fair enough. Yeah, I know that Noman kind of had the same issue too, where he's like, I just do online stuff a lot, which is good. I think every tool can be used to your advantage, which is really good too. So thanks for sharing for that. So for when it came to the BCS, what are some things that you did to prepare? Like, did you practice matchups? Did you have some like metagame expectations or anything like that you want to elaborate more?
yeah, so for this season after the V Clan booster,
Mm-hmm.
the top decks we were looking at was Steam Maidens, of course, we viewed as
Mm-hmm.
uncontested best deck in the format.
Mm.
And then right behind that is Gurgwit, both the pure version and with Holy Shine,
Yep.
and Leopold Reverse are probably the next best decks
Yep.
after Steam Maidens.
Mm-hmm.
So I already knew Gurgwit really well since I played it in the past season.
Mm-hmm.
So I really just kind of practiced against Leopold Reverse and practiced to make sure I knew Steam Maidens in and out.
Gotcha. So what made you transition from Gurgura to Steam Maidens?
Steam Maidens just has so many tools at its disposal. It's able to put pressure on the field way early thanks to Intrana and the Gear Cat, and it also has much. It feels much more consistent combo
Oh,
lines
okay.
compared to Gurgwit.
Hmm.
Gurgwit has, of course, it can go very hard, but especially the pure version, is very inconsistent on whether you're like hitting
Hmm.
an Ezel if you're playing the Ezel variant or
Mm.
hitting your one of Liberator grade 3.
Hmm.
And then Holy Shine has a different issue where it's you end up having to cut down combo pieces to play more Liberator names into Holy
Oh, that
Shines
does make
themselves.
sense. Hmm.
So
That's true, and you can.
because of that,
Mhm. Go ahead.
I just feel that Gurgwit just ended up being a little worse than Steam Maidens for this meta.
Gotcha. Did you want to go over like the winning image, or what was your goal with the deck going into the event? Like, how was the ideal turns and things of that nature?
Yeah, so Steam Maidens is pretty much just a combo deck.
Hmm.
You have different pieces. You have all the first wave Steam Maiden cards from the first wave of supports basically say after battle bind it and then call the next grade from the bind zone.
Yeah.
And so the basic idea of the deck is to chain call those onto your force marker on the rearguard circle to get a bunch of big attacks.
Yep.
And then you can combine that with Amusement Colossus for global guard restrict.
Oh yeah,
and
that
then
card
the
is
second
nasty.
wave of support. Yeah, that card is pretty unfair. The second wave of support gave him early game and filtering to help get to that point.
Mhm.
And because of that, the deck just works really solidly and consistently.
No, that makes a lot of sense too. That new grade 2 with the Gear Cat combo, it's like a +3. Like it's ridiculous. And
Yep.
and it helps you set up your bind zone also at the meantime. Like wow, that's super solid. I think that it's one of the main combo cards that you guys got that really made the deck super solid too. Did it catch people off guard whenever you popped out Colossus, or did people already know that that was coming?
I think that most people were pretty aware that Steam Maidens was, at the minimum, they knew that it was a really broken deck.
Mm,
At most, then they definitely knew everything it can do.
mhm.
But there were a lot of, I could literally hear people that finished the game before me standing behind. You know, if you're one of the last people, then you start to get the group around you.
Yep.
And you'd literally hear people like, this is what Steam Maidens do. This is why it's broken, as they're watching me combo into my opponent's last turn and whatnot.
They get to see it in action and what that final turn looks like too. So makes a lot of sense too. I was actually looking through your list too, and I noticed that you're playing 2 different heal triggers. I think one of them is the grade 3 heal, but the other one's the grade 0. Is there any reason for that?
Yes, the grade 0 heal is Steam Maiden name,
Mm-hmm.
which means it's searchable off of your Gear Cat,
Mhm.
and it's the grade 3's ability lets you bind a card from after it attacks to call the next grade.
Mhm.
And so you need the grade 0 for that card. It
Oh.
lets you get a counter charge if you're going into a 1.
Mm-hmm.
So that card is very good in this deck,
Mm-hmm.
but also the grade 3 heal guardian, the effect is just so powerful and you really need it going second. So
Yeah,
I just
I
went with
agree.
the 2-2 split.
Gotcha.
You the deck, you should expect playing this deck to play against mostly the mirror match. That's your biggest fear, since
True.
it's just the best deck. And especially you need to fear it when you lose the coin flip and you have to go second.
Yep.
Going first is a huge advantage, more so than probably any other deckless change or tweak
Mhm.
or anything else in this matchup.
Gotcha.
And so you really want to build your deck so that you have the best chance of going second.
Mm-hmm.
And because of that, you need the grade 3 heal guardians.
Yes.
They're also searchable off of Lost Gear Dog 8, which
Yep.
is the other grade 1. That card is really underrated. It lets you tutor out your ideal ride, your grade 3 Steam Maiden. It
Mhm.
lets you search Amusement Colossus to
Yep.
set up your kill turn, and it also, you can just search your heal guardians to make sure you make it to grade 3 in the mirror match.
That's super big, and I'm amazed that you could even use the grade 0 Steam Maiden to do your combos because it is a grade 0. I didn't even think about it that way too, but that makes a lot more sense. I thought it was more to like search it and grab it for defense, but then I'm like, wait, this is V Premium, so you can't like G guard. You would rather see the other heals to actually use their skills defensively. I noticed you also play more draw than just 4. Is there any reason for that too as well?
The draw triggers are pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
It works really well with the grade 1 Steam Maiden's Vanguard skill. It binds a grade 2 or lower, and if it was a trigger, you binds a grade 2 or lower to draw a card, and if it was a trigger, you draw an extra card.
Mm-hmm.
So binding a crit for that is like good because you're just going +1.
Yeah.
But binding a draw trigger is really good. Though that hardly ever comes up since it's a 1-up draw trigger.
Gotcha.
But other than that, you just kind of like just number of cards over quality of cards, like the bigger shield value.
Yeah.
So, because, I mean, you're playing against other Amusement Colossus abusers. You definitely want
True.
any extra card helps. And it's just really good to have as a bind target for Amusement Colossus's cost
Hmm.
or anything else you need. And so I think anywhere between 4 and 6 draws is good. You still need the crits so that your Vanguard is threatening.
Yeah.
Because it's usually a big number and people don't want to spin perfect guards when they're under Amusement Colossus. So
Yeah.
you need the pressure from that, but draws are pretty good in this deck.
Yeah, exactly. That makes a lot of sense too, especially if you're going in the mirror where the Colossus makes you drop 2 cards. So having the extra draw triggers helps you with the numbers in hand. So that makes a lot of sense too. When I played Premium on Saturday, I was facing a Steam Maiden deck in top 8, and I literally had to use all my cards in my hands to just even survive. And that Colossus really makes a difference. So having the extra draw is super helpful. Is there anything else in your deck that you like to mention or point out?
There's nothing unusual in this deck. Every Steam Maiden player is playing pretty much the same cards with just a little bit of tweaks, one card here or there ratio wise.
Yeah.
I am maxing out on Aluru. I think that card is very good, and there's not really a good reason not to. It just combos with 8 very well because you can put it in drop zone.
Yep.
Which means you can use the second skill to pseudo G guard later on.
Yeah.
Which gives you advantage. We already talked about why 8 was good.
Oh yeah.
But it also means if you're guarding from your drop zone, it means you don't have to. It's not affected by Amusement Colossus.
That's true. That's true.
So that's another good card in the mirror match.
No, definitely. It gets around that too. No, good point. Good point. Did you want to go into your matchups on what you faced throughout the rounds?
My matchups were about what I expected. There was the Lupina Melody player that I play that made top 8.
Oh, Dustin.
Made 4th, I think.
Yeah, Dustin.
Yeah.
I just interviewed him actually.
I played. Yeah. Oh, great.
Yeah.
Yeah. I played him in the last round of Swiss,
Mm-hmm.
and that deck was really threatening. I never even read Lupina. I think I read it when it came out and then just kind of ignored it because I wasn't expecting it to exist.
Yeah.
So that deck definitely caught me off guard. It was very scary. I was just barely able to beat that deck to ensure that I made it into Swiss, and I'm glad to see that he was the X2 that made it in, because I think that deck is really cool and really great to get showcased.
Definitely. Any of the key highlights you want to mention throughout the rounds that you face, like other matchups?
Yeah. So I said that I was expecting to see Steam Maidens, Leopold Reverse, and Gurgwit.
Yep.
And that pretty much is what I saw. I mean, like I said, there was a few other decks, but other than that, I played the Steam Maiden Mirror 3 times, one in Swiss and twice in Top Cut, with the finals of my top 8 game. And then Gurgwit I saw 2 or 3 times. I also faced a Favis player. I think Favis is also really up there. I don't think it's quite as good as Gurgwit, or I don't know it versus Leopold Reverse. I don't have enough experience to compare the two directly, but people definitely liked the Gurgwit deck. And I was a little surprised to see people picking up on pure Gurgwit. Both the lists that made top 8 were pure Gurgwit, no Holy Shine, which I think is a little better, but I was a little surprised to see that backed up by the results.
Yeah, sometimes you expect one thing, but then all of a sudden then the different build or a different deck makes it to Top Cut. So it could happen, but that's kind of crazy. You face a good amount of mirrors too. With top 8, how was the finals for you? Was it a grind and go, fighting back and forth, or how did that go?
The finals, I'm obviously gonna say it went well because I won the game, but he played really well. He did have to start off with a G assist to go -1, but he got the +1 back with his grade 1 Vanguard skill by binding a trigger like I talked about.
Yeah.
I had to go second in the mirror match, so as soon as you do that coin flip, you just start thinking, oh man, it's an uphill battle from here.
Yeah.
And I was able to basically, my game plan for the mirror match, especially going second, is to just kind of play it a little slow.
Oh, okay.
And not rush super hard, because if you give them a bunch of damage, then they're going to Intrana you out of the game and just fill up their field for free.
Yep.
And the more Intranas they resolve, the more likely they have their full combo pieces and everything they need.
Makes sense.
Which is how the game gets closed down. So I prefer to play it a little slower, keep my hand up to make sure that I can tank and get to at least a full combo turn and try and finish them with that. And my game plan worked out. I was able to get what I needed and get the win.
That's awesome. I'm glad that even though you went second, you were still had that game plan and still winning, and it worked out for you. Do you know how many, like, the most number of attacks you did at all throughout the tournament?
The highest number of attacks is Vanguard plus 0 to 3, like grade 0 attack, grade 1 attack, grade 2 attack, grade 3 attack, because of how they chain.
Right.
And then you can do grade 1 attack, 2 attack, 3 attack. So that's 8 attacks.
8 attacks
is the 8's the biggest number you can do, and I made that play a few times.
Nice. Wow, that's pretty cool. Yeah, sometimes people don't have the full combo, but I'm always just curious, like, if you were able to get there or found another way to get more attacks. But that's really cool. Glad that worked out for you. After the tournament, did you had some time to reflect? Maybe did you learn something from it, or maybe reaffirm, or even anything like that?
Yeah, so I think what's important is going into one of these events is to kind of just stay focused and try and keep your nerves to a minimum. It's very nerve-wracking, especially when you start to get later into the rounds of Swiss and knowing, like, all right, one game is just the deciding factor of top cut or don't top cut.
That's so
and then
true.
you get into top cut and you're like, okay, one loss and I'm walking away from here with less than I would if I won. And so it can be very nerve-wracking, and so it's important to just take any moment you can to just catch your breath, slow down. I like to just, if I'm ever really nervous, I'll just take a really big deep breath in, breathe out, try and focus on where I'm at, and just try and think about what I can do to win and what to everything I've done planning and trying to put it into action.
Gotcha. No, that's really good. So when you reflected, that was just something that you reaffirmed, and it worked out for you. No, that's really good too. This might have answered this question, but I'll ask it anywhere for the viewers so they can have a takeaway question. Is that in your eyes, what's something that may be holding players back from topping, and is there anything that you would recommend helping them get through that too as well?
Yeah, so definitely something that you need to remember when you're preparing for one of these events is to definitely be open to different suggestions, especially from trusted friends who help you test. Is you don't want to be stuck thinking one thing is the correct way to do it, or one deck is just better, and just keep ramming your head into the wall trying to make it work when it's not going to work. It's not a character flaw to play a different deck because you think it's better. It's not bad to copy a better player's list, because it doesn't matter if they're a better player if you take their list and top with it, because then that's your win, not theirs. That's how you get them.
That's very true. And you hit on some key points. I guess net decking is the term. And there's always like two sides of a coin. There's the deck list, and then there's the player. So some people take a list and then they don't really have the mindset behind it, so then they get frustrated when they don't do well with it. But if you take the time or even reach out to that player and learn the deck for yourself, then you can emulate their success, just like you mentioned, because at that point it is your win. You learn how to play the deck and you use somebody's knowledge to your benefit at that point too. So thanks for even mentioning that. That's super key too. Do you have any shout outs that you want to do?
I definitely have to shout out Noman, like we talked about. He's my good friend, and he definitely helped me test most of all. You know, he was there about half the time when I asked him to test, and that was enough.
That's good.
That's why I asked twice as much as I needed. And I have to shout out everyone that used to play at Card Addicts. I definitely would not have gotten this far into the game without the good friends I met there, and everyone that I meet traveling. It's always great to meet new people going to these events.
That's awesome. Yeah, it makes it fun, especially when you drive or take a plane ticket, and you get to a whole different city that you've never been to. So just experiencing that too. Awesome. Where can people find you on social media, whether it be like Twitter, Facebook, anything like that?
I'm on Twitter and I'm on Facebook, but I don't post, so I wouldn't really suggest following or anything.
That's fine.
If you do find my Facebook and you send me a message, I'll probably respond. So, but I don't post, so nothing really to see.
No worries. No worries. I usually just mention because some people do have social media that, people want to follow them, so it's all good. Awesome. Well, thanks again, David, champion of V Premium for BCS Rosemont. And you travel over here and you got the win and you got qualified for Worlds, so I'm super excited. I'll get a chance to meet you in person too, so that'll be cool. I think a lot of us, we should take a group picture once we get there, just to make some memories, and then also do our best in our tournaments. I don't think I'll be playing you because you're being V Premium, but I'll be in Premium.
Sure.
So that'll be a good time. So without further ado, that's pretty much for the interview. Until the next one, amigos. Bye.